Too many losing heroines is pathetic.
柳見さん、俺と
はい
友達になってくれないか。
友達だと
And I mean it's really pathetic. But at the same time, it's also the highest rated non-sequel anime of the season that got praised by Makoto Shinkai himself. How did that happen? Well, first you need to understand something about the romance genre. You see, the rom-com genre isn't exactly known for having the best shows. Even though slice of life rom-coms are usually some of my personal favorite shows ever, a lot of them do suffer with the exact same issues that plague the fantasy isekai genre. A clear lack of creativity, an abundance of tropes and cliches, and a whole bunch of gimmicks that are quickly forgotten or terribly executed. But there are many exceptions to this rule, and those exceptions have started to become commonplace in recent years, with shows like Insomniacs After School proving that the genre still has room to explore new concepts, Skip and Loafer being just the most wholesome and real story with no bullshit cliches, 100 Girlfriends taking the harem genre to its absolute breaking point, and now after years of trial and error, we have finally struck absolute rom-com gold with Too Many Losing Heroines. This is a show that parodies the entire genre almost perfectly. It has some great comedy on par with Kaguya-sama, and it somehow loops all the way back to become one of the best anime the genre has to offer. Yeah, so basically, Losing Heroines is like the eminence and shadow of rom-coms. In case you can't tell, Too Many Losing Heroines is an anime about these short-haired losers who got rejected by their crush, and now they spend all their time funneling their frustration and anger to this poor boy Nokomizu, who just happened to witness them get rejected. The first of those losers, Anayanami, is basically here to represent every single short-haired childhood friend blue-haired rejected heroine in anime. Think Rem from ReZero, Rui from Domestic Girlfriend, Ichigo from Darling in the Franxx, and Himmel the hero. Then there's Lemon Yakshio, who is like that one extroverted tomboy friend who never stood a chance in the first place. And Chika Kumari is the shy shorty of the group with no self-confidence who is just there for variety's sake. These are all tropes you've already seen in other animes before. But remember, this show is all about making fun of the rom-com genre. So surely there's gotta be more to them than meets the eye. And that's exactly the case. Because it doesn't take long for these characters to completely subvert your expectations of them. Take Anayanami for instance. She might look like a cheerful, uplifting copy of Rem who gives up on her crush and lets him pursue his true happiness with the real heroine of the story. But really she's more like a fat ass who tries to look like a cool gal character but only ever hangs out with fellow losers all the time, categorizes other women as either the childhood friend or the homewrecker, and is so down bad that she has to take advice from self-help books to get over her crush, which are about as useful as those motivational videos you watch every single night before falling asleep and forget about the very next morning. Anayanami is such a massive food addict loser that the official website keeps track of her everyday calorie intake. Fucking hell, she went absolutely insane there on episode 5. Anna is the farthest thing from a wholesome or cute side character you would expect a blue-haired chick to be. She isn't just here to act for her fellow losers, she is the ultimate loser of all losers. In all the heavens and the earth, she alone is the honored one. And the one who has to deal with all her shit is Nokomizu, who just wants to read light novels and review tap water in his free time, but instead keeps getting dragged into this rom-com drama by Anna, who uses him to vent her feelings, trauma dump at every opportunity she gets, and she even has the nerve to make him pay for all the food she keeps ordering whenever they're hanging out. But no matter how playful, mischievous, or demanding she is towards Nokomizu, you never feel frustrated or annoyed by her personality. If anything, Anna is quite literally the most popular character of not only the series, but the entire season. And that's because, like a lot of other people in the cast, she is a perfectly flawed character. Another example of this can be seen through Chika Kumari, who again, looks like an unsociable, anxiety-filled second coming of Bochi the Rock herself. But in reality, she's a surprisingly mature and responsible person. Someone who takes great care of her siblings, is considerate of other people's feelings, and doesn't hold any grudges against anyone even after getting rejected by her crush. She can also be a bit of a goofy idiot who makes horny jokes. She has the most entertaining expressions out of anyone in this cast, and she probably smokes about 10 packs of cigarettes a day. So yeah, she's my favorite character in the show. And to top it all off, she's also a successful light novel author whose work stands among other great titles like 86, Watakoi, and Kaguya-sama Love is War. There's actually a surprising amount of references in this anime. There's Chainsaw Man, Look Back, and Sayonara Eri hiding in the background. That one there is a Wandering Witch. Any one of these could be a real light novel title. And oh wait, no, Anna, who do you think you're cosplaying? Some other goofy characters include this winning heroine named Asagumo, who's got a big ass, shiny ass forehead and is also a part-time stalker. A little sister named Kaju, who I'm not quite sure is normal or Japanese. A literature club president who writes isekai light novels in his downtime. And a student council member named Shikia who has... she has a great personality. Yeah, honestly, Lemon is like the only one out of this cast who has any chill whatsoever. Okay, never mind, she's also one of them. Is there anyone who does not have an overly eccentric and objectively hilarious personality in the show? The teachers maybe?
これで助かった。
じゃあ済んだ頃にまた。
Nope, scratch that. These teachers are saying and doing the most out-of-pocket shit in this anime. And lastly, you've got Nokomizu himself, who isn't the best protagonist you can find in the genre, but he definitely has an interesting enough personality to not become generic or boring. Nokomizu is a thoughtful guy who's good at catching on to social cues but sucks at social interaction himself. He can be very blunt with his words since he isn't shy to speak out on things he likes and dislikes. He plays the role of the straight man in this group of weirdos really well, and he has a great deal of chemistry with all the girls in the show in a way that isn't romantic but more so as a friend. I seriously love seeing his different interactions with each of them, and the comedy that their conversation often leads to never fails to make me laugh.
Harassment.
Now hold on!
The show clearly isn't afraid of taking risks with its plot and characters. For example, in any other anime, that typical scene where the main hero and heroine are running around holding hands is always a romantic and beautiful moment. But is it realistic? Well, if you take that exact same running scene and filter it through the lens of losing heroines, you will get the most pathetic and probably realistic interpretation of what would actually go down if they tried it. Losing heroines is a fresh concept executed to its full potential, which, if you couldn't tell by now, makes for a pretty damn entertaining show. And I'm talking the kind of entertaining where you can have the most pathetic 2 minutes worth of conversation between two human beings over the refined taste and texture of fucking tap water and still have my undivided attention like it's a scene from Attack on Titan. Also, remember that website I mentioned earlier? Well, after this conversation dropped, the promotional staff of Losing Heroines started reviewing actual tap water from all across town, and they are currently up to 13 of them. With dedication like that, Even Pictures is giving every other anime this season a run for their money. I have no idea why Even Pictures is giving Losing Heroines the same treatment as their other high-profile shows like Solo Leveling, but I'm not complaining. It's nice to have another rom-com from the studio responsible for Kaguya-sama Love is War, and I love how there are hints of that Kaguya-sama ridiculousness sprinkled out in the show. Also, they are straight up flexing with the sceneries and art direction in the show that, according to many, feels on par with movies like Your Name and Weathering With You. And the reason for that is, like a lot of Makoto Shinkai movies do, the art director of Losing Heroines took inspiration from real life locations for a lot of these backgrounds. And I mean, just look at them. You don't get to see an anime this atmospheric and gorgeous every day. My immersion is never once broken during the 24-minute episodes of this anime, and that includes listening to the opening and ending. The first ending in particular is so nostalgic for some reason. Visually, it is one of the most impressive and fucking cool endings to an anime in recent memory. I would put it in the same ballpark as the Jujutsu Kaisen ending, but that's an entirely different vibe compared to this. This one feels like I'm listening to a song made decades ago for some scrapped anime that's only been rediscovered and used recently, and as it turns out, a quick search on Google was enough to confirm my suspicion. Fun fact, the anime has multiple personalized endings for each loser depending on the arc we are currently on, and they are all sung by their respective voice actors. How cool is that? There's also something about the voice acting in this show that I cannot quite put my finger on. I really wonder what it is. Okay, but seriously, the voice acting in this show is absolutely perfect for each character. Anayanami's VA brings her character to life by perfectly switching her tone from a normal sounding high school girl to quickly becoming an absolute menace to society. Lemon's voice actor delivers her lines with a cheerful, nonchalant energy that makes her character sound like a bit of an airhead, but also the most mature one in the group. The class teacher always sounds like she's either sleep deprived on or drugs, and if you couldn't tell by now, Kumari's voice actor for me is the best part about this anime. Absolute cinema. But the great voice acting and production values can only take an anime so far. If the story itself is repetitive or formulaic, then no one's gonna care for it after a while. And that's a very real problem that this story does not run into. Because in this anime called Too Many Losing Heroines, these losers are not used as a gimmick, but instead they are the central focus of the show. The author of the original light novel wrote Too Many Losing Heroines with the simple goal of presenting the untold story of the one who gets rejected and showcasing their appealing side to the readers. And I think he has done a great job at doing exactly that. It's impressive how quickly the story can switch from being an absurd, chaotic show to this serious, emotional, and real story dealing with the themes of heartbreak, rejection, and conflicting emotions in a way that doesn't feel forced or jarring. And that's because Losing Heroines understands a very basic concept that is often overlooked by other similar stories: the fact that human relationships are complicated. The best example of this comes from Lemon's arc. Lemon has always had a crush on her childhood friend Mitsuki, but since he is about as dense as they come, Mitsuki never actually noticed Lemon's feelings and is now in a relationship with the shiny forehead stalker Asagumo. After a bunch of misunderstandings and the NTR scene happens, we somehow end up in a situation where Lemon, Mitsuki, Forehead, Anna, and Nukumizu are all out on a group date of sorts. The day starts off with some light-hearted fun here and there, until they all decide to go watch a movie together, where, like the dumb idiot he is, Mitsuki decides to split up the group and take Lemon along with Asagumo to watch the movie. Of course, this is a stupid idea. Lemon doesn't want to be the third wheel in their relationship, so she immediately turns him down. But Mitsuki keeps on insisting her again and again until...
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking.
No kidding! I mean, you're the guy I fell in love with once. Why don't you get your act together, man?
Lemon accidentally confesses her feelings to Mitsuki. At first, this seems like a setup for a joke that everyone's gonna laugh off and it won't go anywhere significant. But to everyone's surprise, it ends up having major consequences, with Lemon sprinting off out of pure embarrassment and Asagumo feeling insecure about her own relationship with Mitsuki. The rest of the arc then becomes about Lemon's personal struggle at coming to terms with her reality, reconciling with her childhood friend Mitsuki, and clearing up the air between her and Asagumo. And it's moments like this that make Too Many Losing Heroines feel like a grounded story. Yes, the show is meant to be a parody. Yes, it does make fun of itself. But buried underneath all the comedy and ridiculousness is a story that actually tries to dig deep into what it means to be a losing heroine. What it means to have your true feelings for someone be crushed at a moment's notice. What it means to get rejected by someone you've been in love with forever. Do you blame the person who rejected you, or do you remain confined to your own negative thoughts? Do you keep your emotions bottled up, or do you let loose and take it out on someone else? Is it your fault for taking your relationship for granted, or is it their fault for being denser than a black hole? The story makes a genuine effort at answering these questions related to love and rejection as sincerely as it can, by focusing on characters like Anna, Lemon, and Komari who have their own different losing scenarios and seeing how they manage to get over it, with Nukumizu often staying by their side to hear out their perspective and support them in any way he can. And at the end of the day, it is these kinds of shows who understand relationships, who incorporate unique ideas in their stories, and who have something meaningful to say about them, that have the ability to make you genuinely care for them in a way that no other wish fulfillment show ever will. That is exactly why My Dress Up Darling blew up the way it did, why Kaguya-sama Love is War broke the anime community with its third season, why The Dangers in My Heart became the only anime in history to top the charts every single week, and why I think Too Many Losing Heroines has a chance of standing right alongside the current kings of rom-com anime. Still no match for Oregairu though, just saying. Consider subscribing if this video was worth your time, and check out some of my other stuff. That's it, thanks for watching.